In the collection of exercise files you would have received with this package is a database called donations/S3 for stage 3. And you may notice by looking at this screen that I've now moved on to the donations database. So I need you to open the donations database. What I want to show you is a very strong feature in Access called main forms and subforms. Ultimately, we have information in different tables and we want to show information from different forms in one form. And so we embed other forms into what they call a main form. Let me show you. Let's start by creating a main form first of all. I'm just going to go to the Create tab in my ribbon and I'm going to go to Form Design. Now this main form is to be based on the table Contributors. So I'm going to double click where my two rulers intersect and I'm going to set the record source property to Contributors. Now what I want to do is start adding some fields to this form. First of all, I'll maximize the form and then I'll click the button Add Existing Fields, and these are the fields in my Contributors table. The fields I want to select first of all are donor name, then I'll hold the Control key and I'll pick up home phone, work phone, fax number and email name. I'll then let my Control key go and I'll drag these 5 fields onto my form. And I'll position them just slightly. That's fine. Now I'm going to go and select another 5 fields. I'll click on address, I'll hold the Control key, click on city, state or province, postcode and country, and I'll drag these onto my form about here. Now I want to make sure everything lines up nicely. I'm going to select the labels first of all, hold the Shift key and select these labels as well, and I want to basically make them to the widest. In fact, before I do that I might format them, so I'm going to press Ctrl A, which selects all. I'll go to Format in the ribbon and I'll change the font to Arial, and I'll change the font color to black, and I'll make them size 10, and then I'll double click one of the edges to best fit them. Now I'll select my labels on this group and hold the Shift and select the labels on this group, and I'll go to Arrange and I'll size them to the widest. I'll now select this group of fields, hold the Shift key and select this group of fields and also size them to the widest. I'll now press Ctrl A and select the whole lot, and I'll make sure that they're all the same height. So I'll size to the tallest and then I'll align to the top. I'll then grab this particular collection of fields, move it about there, bring this in, actually widen that out just so it looks roughly like your notes, and that I'll resize actually to the widest. Alright, so those are the fields that I'm after. Now in addition to these fields, I actually want to create what's called a list box, which we made earlier, but the difference with this list box is it's not designed for data entry, it's designed to find a record in this form. We did a find a record in this form using a combo box earlier, now we're doing the same thing using a list box. So I'm just going to move all of these fields over a little bit, and in my Design tab in the ribbon I'm going to click the list box control. And then I'll click over here. What I want it to do is to find a record on my form based on a value I select in the list box. So I'm going for the third option and then Next. The fields I'd like to include in my list box are donor name, so I'll add that, and country, so I'll add that, and then I'll go Next. Now it is actually going to automatically include the ID field. It's just hidden at the moment because if I untick this I can see that contributor ID is actually going to be stored and used to find a record, but the user doesn't need to see the contributor ID, so we'll hide that key column. I need to ensure that the donor name column is wide enough so that I can see clearly the donor name and I can clearly see the country, and Next. I'll then give it a name, find a donor, and Finish. And here's my list box. Let's move things over again, a little bit of fiddling and jiggling to go on, and just move this unbound below its label. I might then just select these two and format them to Arial and to black and to 10 so they're tidy. I'll then best fit them and then I'll align them to the top, arrange, align to the top, size to the widest, and then I'll grab just the unbound list box and I'll stretch that down a bit. Then I can move these closer and tidy things up a little bit. I might even right align those and right align those. It's all up to you. But let's have a look at the form and see how it looks so far. So I'm just going to go to the Home tab and choose the Form View button. And here you can see John Steele, but as I click on Carl or Fran or Matthew or Stan, you can see it automatically moves between the donors in this main form. Now what I want to do is embed another form inside of this area here that actually gives me details about what donations they've made to date and how much. So this is the main form, let's make a subform. I'm just going to save this main form. I'll call it FRM donor and OK, and I'll close this form. To make a subform, I'm actually going to use one of the form types we did in an earlier video, which was the data sheet. And I said we'd come to the usefulness of that form when we came to main forms and subforms. So first of all, I'm going to click on the pledges table because I want to see the pledges each contributor has made. And then I'm going to go create and more forms and data sheet.